All right. All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fans Union for the fans by the fans. Got two of my lovely co-hosts with me, Graham, Logan. What's going on, fellas?
What it do? Super Bowl's next.
Guys, we got one more game to talk about. Obviously, I know we had the Pro Bowl, but that's not really a game anymore like it once was. So,
One game to talk
um,
about, like I said.
it's interesting to me, and we're going to talk about the Pro Bowl a little bit more later. Is it the right move to put the Super Bowl after like the Pro Bowl and then Super Bowl? Absolutely. But for the longest time, it was Pro Bowl or Super Bowl then Pro Bowl. And I understand they want to end it on the Super Bowl high note. That makes 100% sense, and they should do that. But man, the Pro Bowl was a lot better when it was after the Super Bowl because the people who are in the Super Bowl would still play in it typically.
I got my Pro Bowl opinions, but I'll wait till we get to that point of the episode.
Fair enough. Um,
Yeah, I definitely agree with Joey on that point though. I mean, for better or for worse, I know logistically they had to, change it for a bunch of reasons that make more sense to the owners and not the fans, but just from a product standpoint, I mean, the Pro Bowl, has pretty much been irrelevant for the majority of our lifetimes. It was really the most popping when we were super young, speaking, for us on the panel. We all basically the same age, but
yeah, once they made that swap in calendar, um, really had been the same. But all right, so we'll go into first the AFC Championship was seemed just to be another cold game the first half, and then the second half it looked like a blizzard. Patriots end up winning 10-7. Broncos, Jared Stidham comes out firing immediately. I think they go three. I say that they go 3 out the first drive, and then Stidham hits him with that big bomb. I believe it was a rollout touchdown right there, and it seemed like, oh man, this guy's going to be, he's really going to take it, really take it to the Patriots today. And the total opposite happened after that. I don't know if he made a single good throw after that, honestly. And it really seemed like, okay, this really is too much for him after the fumble where he tried to get rid of the ball, ends up throwing a backwards pass. Really should have been a scoop and score touchdown, but doesn't matter because Drake May ends up scrambling the ball in once it's the Patriots take over. So yeah, low scoring game, kind of this the snow game thing. Listen, I know people have been there's been a conversation about snow games and the games being boring or whatnot. Personally, I love a good snow game. I know it's not uh, West Coast run and gun, throwing bombs offense, but I enjoy how much more strategy becomes involved with it. And it kind of feels like, in a way, like almost like soccer, where every single play, every single break you get in moment. I'm Graham, you know the soccer terms better than me, Logan too as well. But when you really start to, you get on a breakaway and can score, those opportunities really mean so much more in soccer. And that's how I feel about when you play in a snow game. Every time you get in the red zone, every time you get a scoring opportunity, it becomes that much more important. So me personally, I enjoy it. I don't know about y'all, but another thing that we can all harp on too is going to be where it's 7-0. It's fourth and short, almost in the red zone, I believe. And everybody in the whole world's like, okay, Broncos are going to kick it, go up 10-0, whatever. Well, Sean Payton makes the decision, go for it on fourth down. Play never has a chance of happening and ends up 7-0, and that's the amount of points the Broncos score the entire game. So Patriots are heading to the Super Bowl. But fellas, talk to me. Well, what do we think about this game?
Go ahead, Graham.
no, man. I mean, a lot like Joey already kind of touched on. This game was, one of those play-by-play type of matchups where, especially in the second half, every possession counted. A lot of three and outs, a lot of punting. Obviously, with the snow just getting to a point to where, like, when you were facing that direction where it was blowing in, the players' faces, you pretty much knew it was a three and out, guaranteed. So that was also another really big, factor in, the end result. But the play
It
that
was
stood out the
also real
most to
quick.
me was that flea flicker.
I just want
Um,
to throw something in there real quick, Graham. It was the exact same weather pretty much in Foxborough.
yeah, I did see that when they actually showed the cameras for what it would look like over in Foxborough. So yeah, that's another good point, Joey. No matter which way it would have flipped in that regard, it would have been a shit show. So no, yeah, but that flea flicker, late, I think in the third, when Drake May was able to pull off that flea flicker was the deciding factor to me. I think that was the play that ultimately was the biggest like swing factor. Beyond that, both teams were able to play conservative and kind of play that chess matchup, like two experienced coaches like Vrabel and Peyton Wood, in a bad weather inclement game. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Logan, but I did want to mention that flea flicker because that was absolutely the deciding factor to me as far as like what swung the everything in the Patriots' favor in the end.
Yeah, I think some of the big parts on this game, weather obviously plays a huge factor. I don't know. I kind of got a love-hate relationship with these games because sometimes you watch these games and it is fun to see them out there playing in the snow. This was not one of those. Like one game that comes to mind is I remember, I think it was Sean McCoy for the Eagles one year went off in a snow game. Like he just had a crazy game. And then one that comes to mind too was Bills and Patriots, like probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. It was Bills and Patriots, and Bill Belichick just came out there and ran the ball like 50 times and only passed it. Like I think they won the game without completing a pass or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So it's like it's kind of cool to see coaches like Bill Belichick, which we will touch on later. It's cool to see coaches like that who are just all-time greats be able to just stick to his guns. Like I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna run the ball, and you're just gonna have to stop it, and ends up winning that game. But when it comes to this game, it was a snooze fest. Like Joey touched on, that second drive of the game, Stidham came out firing. He hit Marvin Mims over the top for like 50 yards. Then he hits that bootleg touchdown in the back right pylon area. So I mean, off the gates, I'm like, okay, is Stidham about to show like, hey, this is the kind of game where Stidham could like earn a shot next year to compete for a job. You know what I mean? Like this is a perfect opportunity for him. Like who knows? Maybe next year he's on the Raiders or somewhere like that, the Dolphins, and he's competing for a job if he shows out this game or something stupid. But Weather kind of had other plans. It seemed like he was looking good up until that point. Weather really took a big turn on this game, and then obviously, as you guys both mentioned, the backward pass. It should have been a scoop and score, but since the play was blown dead, they couldn't like advance the ball and all this. That was really the play of the game for me. That's what changed everything. That's the only time the Patriots were able to score. Then you got the Broncos missed 2 field goals. The Patriots missed 2 field goals. The wins obviously played a big factor. One of them also, Patriots, I think it was, at the end of the half, tried to kick like a 63-yarder, which not a bad attempt. It was offline, but, I mean, it looked like he had the leg, if I remember correctly, to get it, but it was a little offline. So I don't hate them trying something like that, especially this day and age where you see a lot of kickers kicking 55-plus yard field goals like it's nothing. So I don't mind giving your kicker a chance there, at the end of the half, perfect opportunity to try to see what his leg can do. So I don't hate that one. I don't really hold that one against them for a missed field goal. It's like you're obviously kind of like that's a big roll of the dice. But all in all, this game was not fun to watch, not very interesting. I mean, shout out to the Patriots. They finished the season 9-0 on the road. That's huge. That's never been done before, if I remember correctly. So 9-0 on the road for the Patriots is pretty impressive after winning, 4 games back-to-back years. So, they got 8 wins the last 2 years going into the season. Then they rally off and get 9 straight away victories. So Super Bowl is another technically away game for them. So be interesting how that one plays out.
I'm looking at it right now. I just did some math in my head. The fourth quarter in this game had 8 possessions, and both teams totaled for 50 yards. So it's like you said, not very action-packed, but me personally, I don't necessarily like a bunch of 3-and-outs happening, obviously. I don't think anybody does. But I enjoyed, again, kind of the chess match that it became. And the Broncos also, I mean, they had a really good attempt to make a field goal in that fourth quarter, and ended up not happening. But to me, I just knew things. Logan, you point to the pass that should have been the backwards pass that should have been a scoop and score. I think the Broncos just never got any momentum back after the going forward on fourth down. I don't think they ever got any momentum back after that. And I read a really good article by ESPN guy named Seth Wickersham. He has a really good book too. But he broke down a story of basically how Peyton is like how Sean Payton wanted it to go was they wanted to end that drive 14-0 and not 10-0. I mean, just mathematically, 14-0 wins you this game. Or if you get 14, you win this game, right? We all know how the butterfly effect works, but that's what he wanted, and unfortunately, that's just not what happened. Again, Jared Stidham, he came out firing, and he honestly had some throws that really should have been made by the receivers, but I mean, that's just football at the end of the day. But I heard something about, people talking. I was watching some show, and they're like, I mean, this is a guy who's, you throw all these throw all this pressure on him. He hadn't been, playing, blah, blah, blah. I don't really put that much sympathy. I don't have that much sympathy for him. At the end of the day, he's been in the league since 2018, 2019. I think 2018. Now, granted, the stakes are huge, but he started NFL games before. This isn't some second-year player who's coming in bright-eyed and everything, and you're a professional. This is what you get paid money to do. I know there's obviously different circumstances that go around that, and hey, the first game he started in since he was a Raider was the
2023 season, I think, was his last start.
Yeah, but the first game you start is a chance to birth the Super Bowl, so I get that. But I'm not really giving much sympathy for him. And I'm also tired of the Patriots have played, and this has kind of been to up Drake May. I feel like is the reason it's perpetuated. They've played with the Broncos, the Texans, and Chargers. They've played the number 1, 3, and 5 ranked defenses in the country or in the league. And the thing is, their offense hasn't looked good in a single game.
No.
Not even the slightest. I mean, I want to say they've ran the ball well, but I mean, they just run the ball a lot, especially last week. But this offense hasn't really been dynamic, and I really wonder what that's going to entail for them come Super Bowl Sunday. But we're gonna have a whole episode next week just dedicated to breaking this game down. Right now, we're kind of just recapping. But I know people want to try and use that to diffuse the schedule, which I really want to point out. I never heard anybody, and I'm not saying he started this, I did not hear a single person bring up that schedule until Graham brought it up that one episode where he's like, hey, don't be surprised if these guys win the NFC East. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. And then all you hear about is when people talk about them is how they have the easiest schedule this century. I think the easiest in the past 30 years. So it's, it could be time to shine, or the lights could be a little too bright next week when they play the monster that's formed in Seattle. But nonetheless, they're 14-3. Last year, I heard somebody say, Gerard Mayo coached like he didn't even want the job, which I thought was really funny because it kind of seems that way. But New England should not be able to do this. They should not go have 2 or 3 bad years and then, we're right back in the Super Bowl. It pisses me off. Robert Kraft, the witchcraft that we say was at Arrowhead Stadium might be actually possessed by Robert Kraft. I'm convinced.
Yeah, especially new coach, new quarterback, the whole 9. And the thing is, you got a young quarterback, a young coach, so it's like theoretically this could be another 20-year run by the Patriots, which obviously that's jumping the gun big time. But I'm just saying, like, it's on paper, it's possible. But one thing I did want to talk about is they were talking about on the broadcast. So apparently, like, the Patriots and Broncos were 2 people, like, heavily going after Jared Stidham this offseason. They were both trying to sign them as a backup, and the Broncos ended up winning the bidding war, I guess it was, for Jared Stidham. But apparently the Broncos wanted him a little bit more, offer a little bit of money, whatever the case was, and Sean Payton got him. So it is kind of interesting that apparently the 2 teams that really want him to be their backup this season ends up being the teams playing to go to the Super Bowl. And on top of that, you got him starting because of an injured Bo Nix. So I thought that was pretty interesting when they were talking about, like, because I had no idea. I'm not paying attention to Jared Stidham's free agency, you know what I mean? So
he was drafted by the Pats. And then that was Sean Payton's like first free agent he signed when he got to Denver was Jarrett Stidham. I mean, like this is the guy he wanted to be there.
Yeah, Jarrett was a part of that 3-quarterback carousel in New England of Mac Jones, Bailey Zapp, and himself.
Bailey Zapp. Oh my gosh.
Bailey Zappi.
What a pull.
I'm an AFC East. I'm an AFC East guy. So
yeah, that's true. That's fair.
We lost to that team, I think, twice that year. So I think we lost to Bailey Zapp the first time, and we lost to Mac the second, or reverse combination of the two. But Logan, that was a crazy pool as well, though. I think that was like a really intricate, detail that you mentioned, and that's some real high-level football shit. It just shows like the DNA of teams that are actually doing the right stuff.
Yeah,
there's patterns and there's similarities, and that's why they end up going after a lot of the same guys. And I tip my hat to you for that, because I think even a lot of guys who get paid big bucks to do this full time probably aren't mentioning that on their show. No, I mean I'm saying that for real, not only because you my brother, obviously, and we panel mates and shit, but no, I hadn't heard that detail yet. And I mean, my feeds on all accounts are pretty much full of football. So the fact I hadn't seen that yet was pretty crazy. But yeah, Joey, like you mentioned as well, though, as far as like the Patriots and that suspect schedule, it is ironic though that like right after they played the donut schedule that they did in the regular season, they played basically the best defenses back to back to back. Like I know their offenses haven't looked proficient at all, but shit, they're getting it done, man. They're doing the dance while everybody else went home. So that is also kind of like an ironic detail about all this, because that schedule is absolutely stank. I mean, they didn't play a single team with a winning record. I don't know if y'all saw that, but they played 2 teams with a 500 record, and everybody else finished under 500 in the regular season.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I think it was in our episode, Joe, where it's just us two. I talked about if he played another bad game like he did against the Chargers this postseason, like they're probably not winning another game. Well, he did play the best game against the Texans. It's just C.J. Stroud played way worse, and then kind of the same. I mean, I don't know if I'd say Stidham played worse than him. I think Stidham ended up with better passing yards and whatnot. It was just a stink fest of a game, and obviously the weather.
It was those scrambles. It was those scrambles that Drake was able to make. That was the difference maker.
And honestly, that's huge for him. I mean, May is one thing he has showed is he can make the plays with his legs. Like you may not build, and I say that, but they ran a quarterback draw with him that scored a touchdown, if I remember correctly. But you may not run a read option with him, dude. But you get him out in space, man. He's got deer legs, man. He can freaking move.
I ain't gonna lie, Drake May got some wheels, bro. I might run an option with him. I just think they got to get him a little bit more comfortable in that offense. But I think he's capable, bro. Drake May as a prospect, I really loved him coming out of North Carolina. I felt like he could do whatever he wanted. He was almost like a baby Caleb Williams to me coming out of college, to be honest.
The crazy thing to me is Drake May has 65 rush yards, 86 pass yards, good for 151 total. But I mean, Jarrett Stidham had 133 in the air, 23 on the ground. So I mean, that's 146. I mean, it's basically neck and neck right there. They both have a touchdown. The difference is Stidham had an interception and then the fumble, which the turnovers turned up huge, especially the fumble. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head what they did off the interception, but obviously that fumble is a pivotal part of the game.
Logan, he's also about 8 years older. I think when Drake May is the same age as Jarrett, even if in weather this bad, if we watch Drake May playing a game like this when he's 29, 30 years old, I think he's still throwing for 250, 300. I do think Drake May is going to end up, whether he ends up winning MVP, which I doubt, I do think that he was the right pick for them. He was the right pick in general, and I think he will end up being a top-notch. I think he'll be a top 10 quarterback for the majority of his career. I'll let the record say that. And I hate the fucking Patriots. He's still getting comfortable in this offense. Like, isn't McDaniels the offensive coordinator this year, yo?
Yeah.
So like give him 2-3 years with McDaniels. Hopefully they don't change that and let him keep that familiarity. I hate that so many of our like talented quarterbacks that all of us on this panel talk about a lot, like, have to deal with that coaching carousel shit, man. Even guys who aren't in our top 10, like, sometimes we might be unfair to them, because we're not mentioning the fact that they've had 5 or 6 coordinators in 7 years of football. I just think that's terrible, bro. But, obviously not to get on a tangent or anything like that. But I know
Dude,
Drake May's numbers have been suspect, but I do think he'll come around in the next 2 or 3 years to show that he's a top 10, top 12 quarterback.
I think as long as Vrabel's there, there's McDaniels isn't going anywhere unless they're just atrocious offensively, like just simply unplayable. You talk about offensive coordinators. I did not realize. I remembered he was there, but I didn't realize that Dable was the offensive coordinator that 2018 season at Bama. That blew my mind.
Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, and then he took over the Bills, which
it's also. I was just about to say it's crazy that sometimes I forget he coached Josh Allen in his rookie year.
Yeah, now he's like the Josh Allen whisperer.
That's a fact. Yeah, man. So, Joe Brady obviously coming in and taking that head coaching position out there in Buffalo. Gonna try and sprinkle some of that Joe Burrow magic that he had at LSU. And be a little bit of a quarterback. I ain't gonna say a quarterback guru, but definitely, like you just said, a quarterback whisperer. Josh Allen definitely needs somebody to get in his ear about these turnovers.
Yeah, and I want to get to that coaching because I have some thoughts about that hire as well. Something I kind of saw coming. But before we do that, let's get into the NFC Championship, which played just a few hours later. Much better much better weather circumstances, and it showed in the score and just about every other facet of the game. Seahawks heading to their third Super Bowl in the past 15 years. Sound right? Beat the Broncos, lost to the Pats. This is their third one, I'm pretty sure. So this is their third one, led by Jet, Panther, 49er, and Viking legend Sam Darnold. Stafford also had a really, really big game. He ends up going through 374, 22 of 35, 3 touchdowns. I thought both quarterbacks were awesome this game, and it really just came down to that last drive. And I think when I look back on it, I mean, this is what you needed. You've got you've got the two best receivers from this past season in this game. They both show out. They both score touchdowns. The kind of play you needed from them. I just didn't think. I don't even want to say Sam Darnold got the best of Matt Stafford because I think that the Seahawks just won the game. I don't necessarily think that means you get the best of somebody per se, but we as football media fans, anybody who's pretty well versed, they knew that the Seahawks this year, their success was going to be contingent, especially when they got in the playoffs, on Sam Darnold not having that Sam Darnold game that we saw last year in Minnesota. And we didn't really get a chance last week because they just absolutely shattered the Niners. But he came to play this week, 346, 25 of 36 passing, 3 touchdowns, and he looked incredible. I think I know it was funny. Graham and Logan had a bit of back and forth the other night. Logan said, the Jets made him look like he wasn't any good. I'm paraphrasing. But I think the biggest fool in all of this got to be the Minnesota Vikings.
The only reason why I don't agree with that is because J.J. McCarthy was hurt this year. Like, if J.J. McCarthy's healthy this year and he just shits the bed, then fine. But theoretically, I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think anyone on this panel thinks it's going to happen. Theoretically, J.J. McCarthy could come out and be I don't want to say Pro Bowler because that doesn't mean shit these days, but he could go out and have a MVP caliber season. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying he's gonna. I don't think anyone on this panel believes he's gonna. But I was more so saying that, and then also as I try to add in, the Panthers also dropped the ball on him. I was the same time Graham was fired. Graham was in defense mode. My bad. I jumped in the line of fire. I'll admit.
But I mean, what you say that right. I mean, I know you're right. They just spent a first round pick on McCarthy. But my thing is, I said this earlier in the year. I think it's foolish for any team, coaching staff to think that somebody like McConnell, who is a fantastic coach, is just good enough of a coach to put a body in there at quarterback, and they get you to the playoffs, get you X amount of wins. You're foolish to think that. This league is too good. You've got to have the right guy at quarterback. Now,
hey, quick note. It's O'Connell.
That's him, McConnell? Yeah,
I think you've said it a handful of times this season, and every time you have me second guessing if I have his name wrong in my head.
I think I'm thinking of the Philadelphia Sixer legend, T.J. McConnell. I don't know.
Hey, fair enough.
Hold on, Pacer legend.
Yeah, I wanted to say that just because he wasn't on the. He's definitely done bigger things with the Pacers, but he just wasn't. He's I wanted to do my immaculate grid. My
And y'all
immaculate
also
grid
not
pool.
gonna let me. Y'all also not gonna let me slide from this topic and not drop my 2 cents because I definitely have to.
Well,
But
real
I'll
quick
let
before you
finish,
do,
Joey.
before you
Go ahead.
do, I just think it's foolish that you could put any to think, and I'm not saying that the Vikings or anybody thought this, but to think that you could just have a guy win 14 games for you, and then you could replace him with anybody, and that happen again. That was foolish to think.
I will
And
say
now he's
this,
in
though.
another team. He's won 14 more games. Now he's on his way to the Super Bowl. But I also understand their last impression of him was that was it the Lions that they met in the playoffs and just played absolutely horrifically?
Well, he played terrible against the Lions to play for the first seed.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
then
And then
in the playoffs, they lost to I don't remember. That off the top of my head.
I think it's the Packers.
I was about to say it was Green Bay because the Lions lost to the Redskins or Commanders.
No, you said it right.
The Lions lost to Washington,
Yeah.
and then the Washington ended up losing to Philly in the NFC Championship.
Yes,
if I remember
sir.
that correctly. So, but whatever you were about to say.
Before Graham goes in on me, I will say this. Whenever you're talking about the Vikings and like just because Kevin O'Connell's a great coach, you can't just drop any quarterback in that system and blah blah blah, right? And I'm not saying blah 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 disrespectfully, but like so on and so forth.
Paraphrase.
With that being said, at the time that Sam Darnold was dropped into the Minnesota Vikings locker room, he was a nobody. That was just like the equivalent of just dropping somebody in there, because no one ever thought Sam Darnold would be doing this before last season. Let's be honest. And I don't like I said, I'm not saying I'm a believer in JJ McCarthy, but when you're signing the Niners backup quarterback, you're not really expecting him to go be a top 5 quarterback in the league. You're not expecting him to win 14 games. Like that wasn't his persona. With that being said, I do agree the Vikings probably should have re-signed him, but once again, you don't know what JJ McCarthy, who knows? He could go win 3 Super Bowls in the next 10 years. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I think they were also banking on Daniel Jones too, I'm pretty sure.
They were what?
I feel like they were banking on Daniel Jones because remember they signed him.
Yeah,
I think they were
practice squad.
I think they were banking, and he was hurt too. I'm pretty sure,
But
I think they were banking on keeping him for one. From what I remember,
it's fair to say the Vikings missed on that until we see what JJ McCarthy is. I don't believe in him either, but also I didn't believe in Sam Darnold 2 years ago. So you never really know. And then as far as before Graham goes in on me, the reason why the Jets come first to mind, it was because even though the Panthers were in the worst division and had the worst record of any playoff team, the Panthers are still in the playoff and look like they have a quarterback that could be their future. And then the Niners, I don't really count that as a swing and a miss because Brock Purdy was obviously their guy at that point. Like had only lost it was single digits losses as a starting quarterback. So it's like, I'm not blaming the Niners at all. Like they signed him to be a backup. He was a backup. And then the Vikings, like I said, the JJ McCarthy situation, you just truly never know what that turns into. But I'll let Graham have the floor at this point.
All right, so I'm gonna rather than going scorched earth, as my brother Joey likes to say, when I tend to act like my normal self, I'm gonna kind of just break down my rebuttal into 2 parts, and it's not aimed directly at Logan because I really don't have when I take my bias out of it. Obviously, I'm a Jets fan, so my feelings was a little bit.
Hello?
Hello?
Somebody watching TV in the background? What's going on?
Oh, that's my.
I'm like, what?
An ad just started playing on ESPN out of nowhere. Literally, no.
Yeah, ESPN is good for that.
Yeah, did not click anything.
ESPN gonna get their ad revenue.
Yeah, they might
one way or another. But no, like what I was gonna say was, taking my bias out of everything. I don't necessarily got an issue with Logan's statement because the Jets did draft Sam Darnold. So, at the end of the day, if we're gonna just look at things from the standpoint of if you draft a player who turns out to be performing at the level that Sam is now, they should take, ownership or responsibility. I'm cool with that from a certain point, but these are the two things I'm gonna kind of, base my rebuttal on. And is this, for one, Logan, you just said yourself that you're not gonna drop the hammer on the Vikings because we have to wait and see how things pan out with JJ McCarthy, right?
Yeah.
Theoretically, wouldn't you have said the same thing about the Jets with Zach Wilson in 2021? Because Sam Darnold at that point had only won 13 games as a Jet, played like 52, maybe like 18 games. But I had sent the touchdown, the interception ratio. It was something like he only had 3 more touchdowns than interceptions over 3 years. And that last season, I think it was something atrocious, like 16 picks and 6 touchdowns. It was bad, and he did get hurt. But I think that the rhetoric that you're applying to the Vikings with JJ McCarthy, I think that you would, being fair, I think you would apply the same thing with the Jets if we could hop in a time capsule and go back to 2021. And this episode was about are the Jets smart for trading Sam Darnold to the Panthers for 2 first-round picks and using one of them on Zach Wilson. I feel like you would be kind of saying the same thing about the Jets. And then I guess my second point is the same way that you're saying, like, you can't really – you said that when Sam Darnold got acquired by the Vikings, when he got dropped in that locker room, he was just a guy. Like, at that point, no one knew he was going to be a top 5 quarterback. No one knew he would, pan out to be performing at the level that he did now. I think that
let's
the reason
remember he got
Go ahead.
signed to compete with the job for JJ, and JJ got hurt. Let's not forget that. Those happened at the same offseason. Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold did not happen the same offseason.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is, I'm just saying, with your own words, you said that when he got dropped in that locker room, you said he was kind of like a nobody. He was just another body. And I think the reason why, you were saying that was based more so off of what he did with the 49ers and the Panthers, versus what he did with the Jets, because it was probably 4 years since he played with the Jets when he got acquired by the Vikings. It had been a pretty, decent amount of time. And so I get that he, was drafted by the Jets and whatnot, but I think that like Joey said, the Vikings ultimately got to get the biggest, kind of aha moment out of all this, because Sam Darnold was legitimately a top 5 quarterback for them in a purple jersey. He never looked like that with it, with the Jets. He never looked like that with the Panthers. So, being critical of teams that are bad, have been bad for passing on a bad Sam Darnold versus a Vikings team that's got the number 1 receiver in the league, you essentially got the most pressure out of, the top 3, top 4 teams that are expected to win. You have a great quarterback because you got the best receiver. You got prime time on court. And so I do think that the Vikings got to, like I said, get the biggest aha moment of it all. But shouts to Logan too, man. I don't got no problem with that take.
I also want to say, like,
all is fair in love and war.
About the Vikings, like, I would say if they scrape their way into if they NFC South their way into the playoffs, it'd be one thing. These dudes won 14 freaking games. They were playing for the final seed or for the first seed in the last week of the season. Like that, when you see that level of success and winning, and again, JJ McCarthy is essentially, I know he technically was there last year, but he's a rookie. I'm personally, and I know, like I've told you about, I'm throwing out rookie quarterback seasons. But why is this coming up? Can you hear me? Okay, I don't know. Something was going on my computer. But
I hear you.
But with him, where was I at? It's tough being in his situation, because he's just not there right now. McCarthy, that is. And he's in a team that wants to win now. That is a win now team. And if you're a rookie quarterback going into that and having to learn, so much so quickly, I mean, it's kind of a bummer. But let's move off the Sam Darnold conversation for just a moment.
Time out. One quick. I gotta get my 2 cents now. Come on, though.
I thought you already did. My bad.
No. I just said what I was saying before he go. But my response to him would be, once again, the difference is the Panthers seem like they might have got their quarterback of the future because they made the playoffs. I know it is a very shitty way to make the playoffs and whatnot, but we can all agree the Panthers the last 2-3 years have showed improvements. And let's just be honest, like, the Jets just have the track record of fumbling with quarterbacks. Like, it is what it is. Like, in our lifetime, since Mark Sanchez, Brett Favre, Mark Sanchez, like the only two quarterbacks I can remember, like the Jets, like being like, okay,
So
maybe
Logan,
they
if
made the
you
right.
were the Jets GM, and in the resume I read you about Sam Darnold, wins and losses, touchdowns and interceptions, results on the actual football field, you would have resigned Sam Darnold, or you would have traded him for 2 first-round picks?
Hey, Sam Darnold in 2019 had 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a 7-6 record.
But we traded him in 2021, bro.
Did y'all trade him or did he get cut?
We traded him for 2 first-round picks to the Panthers, and that's the other thing. So many things get misreported about the Jets, and I really don't be a stickler about it because I could really go on forever, and it would sound like I got a 10-full hat on, but it's actually legitimate. People get paid actual American currency to report bullshit, false shit about the Jets because it's just a sticking point at this point. But we did not cut Sam Darnold. We traded Sam Darnold for 2 firsts, and that's why we had 3 first-round picks in 2021, and we drafted
Hey, it says the Jets received
and Jermaine Johnson.
The Jets received a 6th-round pick, 2nd-round pick, and 4th-round pick for Sam Darnold. I'm looking at it right now. So it was not 2 firsts. 2 firsts sounds absurd. That's why I looked it up so quick. So they got a 2021 6th-round pick, a 2022 2nd and 4th.
Well, I think we shifted some things around with the picks that we got with him and ended up getting a first, and that's what gave us the 3rd first-round pick that we used to get Jermaine Johnson in 2021 with. So I think ultimately, if you are able to turn those picks around, I ain't even gonna go on that tangent. I asked you a question. 45 touchdowns to 42 interceptions and a 18 and like 52 record. Are you re-signing Sam Darnold or are you trading him at that point? I mean, you still dropping the hammer on the Jets, and all I'm asking you is, how are the Jets the one being the most, being judged the most critically when he played the worst as a Jet with a longer? We gave him more games to play than all the teams that you mentioned, even the Vikings.
It was probably the worst team he was on as well.
Okay, fair enough. But is a bad team supposed to re-sign a bad quarterback? He did not play good with the Jets, so that's why I'm asking you: would you re-sign him?
I mean, they gave him 3 years, and it wasn't even a full 3 years.
Would you re-sign him?
Look, all I'm saying, Justin Fields like a good quarterback last year. He did this year. The Jets have a track record of fumble quarterbacks. It is what it is, man.
Justin Fields held the ball for 7 seconds per. Justin Fields held the ball for 7 seconds per snap. He was the worst in the league for that. The Jets have like the 10th best O-line in the league. We don't have a bad O-line no more.
He didn't do that when he was with the Steelers last year. That's all I'm saying. He was 5-1. I'm not saying it's a quarterback problem.
Now we jump into Justin Fields, who's ultimately
no. My whole point of the Jets
talking about.
No, I said earlier.
The topic wasn't what organization is the worst with quarterbacks. The question was, would you have resigned Sam Darnold or traded him for assets? You still ain't answered me.
That actually was not the original conversation. Regardless, my point
I asked you a question and
was the Jets came to mind. The Jets came to mind because the Panthers seem like they're trending upwards. They made the playoffs. The Niners, that's a wash. They got Brock Purdy. That's their franchise guy. The Vikings, we still don't know what their current quarterback situation is because of injuries. So, yeah, Jets came first to mind when I texted the group chat. Like, I can't believe they really had us thinking this guy's not a good quarterback. So, yes, Jets came first to mind. But also, these are my reasonings for the Jets coming first to mind is they constantly are having turnover at quarterback, at head coach, and every other position known to mankind because – let's be honest.
I mean, bro, if we're being objective, Logan, you're turning this into – you're shitting on the Jets now, bro, if we're being objective. Now you're just shitting on the Jets. You've devoided from the point. So now that you're bringing up shit that's kind of hypotheticals, the Panthers ain't never won a fucking Super Bowl. The Jets have. Mark Sanchez got more playoff wins. Mark Sanchez got more playoff wins than 6 of the top 10 quarterbacks combined in the league right now. If we talking about hypotheticals and shit,
we're getting way off. We're getting way off track. We're getting way off track.
The original topic was why I said the Jets. I'm still on topic.
And I asked you if you would have traded Sam or re-signed him. You still ain't answering.
Yeah, that was off topic. The original.
How was that off topic if you saying the Jets are the one who made us think he was bad when he played bad with the Jets? How did we make you think he played bad? He did that himself. 45 touchdowns to 42 picks. Is that good quarterback play, Logan?
Hey, but then they put him on a good Vikings team. What happened, Graham?
Who put him on a good Vikings team? We traded him to the Panthers, and he fucking stunk.
Because the Panthers stunk. As soon as he got put in a good situation, what happened? Come on, man. I'm not changing the argument. I'm just saying
Look,
why the
look,
Jets
look,
came to
we're
mind
way
first.
off.
That's all.
We're way off here. Let's get back into the game. All that to say, Sam Darnold has recovered himself and played well. I do like the people who it's more like the RG3s who he said something like everybody doubted Sam Darnold. You all are wrong, and I'm like Graham has kind of been saying he gave us no reason to really believe that he was the one, but sometimes it just takes that one change of scenery or 4 change of scenery to, I guess, really find out who you are.
Yeah,
Get
like
you around.
Logan said, when he joined the Vikings, he was a nobody, and now he's saying, "Go put him on a
Look,
good
look, look,
team," and now
we're
it
done.
makes
Hey,
sense to
yo,
get top 5
we're done with that.
quarterback.
We're done with that. We're done with that. We're done with that.
Fuck out of here.
We're done with that.
I mean, Geno Smith was good on the Seahawks on a good team. We took him to
We're
the
done with
Raiders.
that. We're done with
They're
this.
like shit. It is what it is, bro.
Now he's the worst quarterback in the
Hey,
league.
hey, hold, we're done with this.
On the worst team. Look at that. See how that plays out?
We are done with this.
Just doesn't make sense. You're muted, bud. You're talking to nobody, Joey.
Oh, now I'm the fool. This one at the end of the half, I think, because I'm trying to remember what it was. It just happened to. I think I was driving home when this happened. I was listening to it, but ends up, there was that mismanaged clock at the end of the half where it could have been them going up, the Rams going up 20 to 10. Ends up Seattle scores a touchdown before the end of the half, goes up 17-13. And if I'm remembering correctly, Seattle never recaptures the lead from there. One thing that I've noticed about this team all season, this Rams team that is, where's the number at? They've been really bad on third down all year. This game, they were 1 for 8, and that's something that has really been a trait of who they are. And for some reason, this defense, in the most unopportune time, refuses to get stops. And I feel like they got the staff. I mean, Chris Shula is one of the who we thought was going to take the Steelers' job, is kind of one of the hot guys on the market. But I think the Rams ultimately is going to come down to this season. They were not able to convert on third down. If you go 1 for 8 on third down and the other team gets 7 third down or convert 7 third downs, it's going to be tough for you to win any game, no matter what. Especially when you're playing a monster like this. So if you can't get us, because it felt like, I remember at the end, I can't remember, they were in goal twice, and what's the score? Let me make sure I'm looking at it correctly. When it's still 27-31, everybody's like, take the field goal. Well, they hadn't stopped them enough to justify taking a field goal in hopes of getting another stop, going back down to take the lead. And that's ultimately what cost them this game. I think that lack of defense kind of impacted that decision making.
Yeah, I think one of the big parts too, you keep talking about the third down thing, and I think another big part of the Rams season this year is they were not able to get the job done at home or on the road this year. They have 6 total losses after this game, and 5 of them came on the road. So I get it, playing on the road's a different animal, but we're talking about the Patriots, who are 9-0 going to the Super Bowl. Now you got the Rams on the other side of it. They're 5-5 on the season, with 5 of their 6 losses coming away on the road. So they're not really able to get the job done on the road either. One thing about this game, it's obviously the total opposite of the Patriots and Broncos. This game had scoring all the way into the fourth. Like, fourth quarter, just no team was able to get any points on the board. I mean, if you just take a quick glance at the box score, like, everything about this game says neck and neck. I mean, you got Stafford and Darnold go for 374 and 346. You got their leading rushers at 55 and 62. And then you got Nakua going off for 165. Jigba goes off for 153. And I think he had like 120 in the first half or something crazy. Jigba in the first half was going absurd. Like, he was having a hell of a game. So, of course, you got your 2 receivers going bananas throughout this game as well. JSN bounced back really good. What was it? Last week or the week before, he had like 3 catches.
May have been the week before, because he's had those games where he's had like 25 yards and they just absolutely drag whoever they're playing.
Yeah, it might have been the Niners game when they sealed first seed. I think it would make sense because that was a blowout. But yeah, I think it was that game. He didn't really do much, but I mean, anytime you go off, I think I said it was his 5th game of the year with 100 receiving yards in the first half. Like, it was something crazy like that. So JSN has another crazy night. But I mean, all in all, I really think if you line this team up this season 6 times, it's going to be 3-3. Like, all 3 of their games this year were super good, super close, super fun to watch. Pretty much, I don't want to say back and forth because this one wasn't really back and forth. There was only one time the Rams had the lead, but I mean, it was a close game the whole way through and through. But the Seahawks are rolling here. I do hate it for Devontae Adams. I seen his post-game interview. He's just shell-shocked. I didn't realize that he's 0-5 in the championship games. That man has been,
Good Lord.
I mean, seconds and minutes away from advancing to a Super Bowl multiple times. I didn't realize he had been to 5. So that would mean he was at, 4 with the Packers, which I knew the Packers at one point when Aaron Rodgers won MVPs, it seemed like they were there every year. So I don't know. I thought it was surprising to see it was 0-5, but I do feel bad for Devontae. That man, post-game interview, really looked shell-shocked there. He was a deer in headlights. You could tell he couldn't even think to gather his thoughts and whatnot. So I hate it for Devontae Adams. He's obviously, I think it was him and Stephon Diggs going into this week had the most postseason receptions without making it to a Super Bowl. Obviously, Stephon Diggs gets in, which I didn't even mention, but it's cool to see Stephon Diggs finally make it after all his success in regular season as well as postseason back when he was with Buffalo. But on the other side of that, you got Devontae Adams, who's had plenty of success as well, not able to finally crack the code and get in there. So I do hate it for him personally. Out of the 4 teams left, the Rams were the team I wanted to personally see win it the most, just because, I don't know, Seahawks, Broncos, Patriots, neither 3 of those teams really do it for me. But, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it would have been cool to see between the MVP matchup where it'd be Drake May you're rooting for to win that, or Matt Stafford, wherever you stand on the MVP conversation. It would have been really cool to see that matchup. But Seahawks, they're going to keep, I guess, kicking ass and taking names. They've been doing it all year. And every time someone doubts them, they step up and have another good game and show us why they belong here. So, all in all, much better game for this one than that first stinker, Patriots and Broncos.
Graham, what do you got to say about this game?
No, yeah, definitely provided all of the explosives that we're missing from the AFC matchup. The weather obviously provided a little bit of a better, hand of cards than the AFC matchup did as well. So, needless to say, the wide receivers that we've been speaking about on both sides was able to show out and do what they've been doing all season. Jackson was able to pull off another one of his crazy one-handed catches. So always good to see the stars, be the highlight of the game and not the referees, not the weather, not shit that don't pay top dollar to come out and see and be entertained by. Beyond that, beyond the fireworks and whatnot, I do think it's always a privilege to watch, Sean McVay cook up with a capable quarterback. We don't know how many more years, we're going to be able to watch him do that consecutively, at least as the Rams coach. I myself, I've been under the, belief that I could see Sean McVay, probably dipping up out of there, sooner rather than later. I don't know why I feel that way. It just is what it is. I think one of these other teams that are probably just showing a little bit more ambition than the Rams are right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. They loaded up on offense and they re-signed guys like Jarrett Verse. But I do just feel like there's a staleness to that Rams organization right now. And I think in a way, some of the other teams in the conference are starting to figure them out. Right now, them and the Lions are kind of neck and neck to me as far as like kind of being the odd man out. They're always going to be good enough to be competitive against any team in the conference. But if the Eagles figure their shit out, I kind of would still pick the Eagles to, maybe knock off the Rams next year. If they was to get, a 1 year older Stafford to come back and commit. I don't know what his contract situation is. Is he coming back next year?
I think still, I'm pretty sure he's still under contract. I know there's been a lot of talks about him just being able to compete, but I was telling Logan this last week. I just don't think you can, I don't know how an athlete can win MVP, play at this high level, almost throw 50 touchdowns, and then you're just like, yep, I'm done. Kudos to him if you can do it, but athletes, they go into the wheels fall off.
Yeah. He up there in age though, so I also don't know what he I truly wouldn't, be shocked if he said he doing some crazy shit before each and every game and after each game, to preserve his body at this age because he 39 right now, I believe. So, if he comes back next year, obviously that does change the scope of things, but I really don't know what the Rams draft capital situation is because they were able to acquire guys like Devontae and maybe some of those other pieces that they were, pursuing on their route to try and win another ring. Because let's not get it twisted, the Rams were in win now mode this year.
Oh, yeah.
I know I'm kind of stepping into the outlook of things, but as far as this game, both teams balled out. Like you said, it wasn't a matter of, Sam getting the best of, Matt. I just think that Seahawks defense is humming a little bit better. Like, obviously, Aaron Donald is a one of one. I ain't going to say just losing Aaron Donald is the reason why that defense doesn't have as much bite as it had to it. But, they picked up guys like Forbes, on the back end and made him kind of like their CB2. And he was kind of looking like a turnaround project that could make that defense look like what it was when they were competing for those Super Bowls, like when they beat the Bengals. But ultimately, a semi-shutdown corner who can still get exposed isn't going to be enough to get you over the top. I still like Jared Verse as a player, but I do think they need to really like focus on adding another piece either in that interior or on that line that can give Matthew, a defense that keeps him off the field, and, can provide him a little bit of better field positioning, if you will, next year. That's where I would focus things. If they can preserve the offense, they just need to add some more bite to that defense. But it was a great game from both teams. They both balled out.
You mentioned the draft capital. They've got the
Yeah.
Falcons 13th. Yeah, they got the Falcons pick this year, remember? So
And they got their own
the
pick.
13 overall pick for the first round?
and so I guess they'll end
In
up
the
having
29.
I'm about to say they'll end up having the 28th, 29th.
Yeah. So they got 2 first rounders. So I mean,
This year?
yeah. Because I mean, you got to think about it.
They might need to take a quarterback, bro.
I mean, because kind of like what you're saying, Graham, about the Sean McVay. I know a lot of people kind of touched on that ever since he really won a Super Bowl. Him and Aaron Donald both. It was kind of a conversation like, do they stay long in their positions?
Well, Sean Payton had mentioned also things about like him retiring at a young age, or at least leaving LA at a young age. If I didn't say that, that's what I meant. Yeah, McVay.
Okay, I figured. But the thing is, like, it makes you wonder, like, what if Sean Payton and now you got me saying Sean Payton. What if Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, like, they could be in cahoots, like, hey, we're going to go until you can't go no more. And once you go, I'm going. Like, like that could be McVay's mindset. Like, I don't want to rebuild. Like, I don't want a Super Bowl. Like, everyone seems to think obviously where there's smoke, there's fire. So a lot of people seem to think like he's going to ride off into the sunset and go be an analyst or something like that. So it's like, maybe like that's kind of his mindset. It's like, I'm going until Stafford's going. And then after that, somebody else can have this and rebuild it themselves. But I think it's interesting. But to Graham's point, I mean, it doesn't really seem like they're but a couple of pieces away, honestly. And when you got the number 13th pick and the 29th pick, even if maybe you don't use those picks, if you go get a veteran or whatever, if you really want to go, they did it a few years ago. They said, F them draft picks, went and got their vets, went and got their Super Bowl. So maybe they try to do something like that again. But
hey, 2 first rounders plus more for Myles Garrett?
I don't think he's in Cleveland. I think I think he's the best, maybe the best player in football. I think he's probably.
I mean, what's your take on that, Logan?
I mean, if you're the Rams and you're going all in, you got what, 2 or 3 years left of Stafford max, like absolute max. I mean, if the owner was in the F them picks mindset 3-4 years ago, why not do it again? Because Myles Garrett could be exactly what they need, honestly. Like, if you go get Garrett, you're all in 100%, though. But you got a 2-year window to go get the job done.
I think the problem is if you're the Browns, aren't you demanding for Verse to be on the back end of that?
Well, I'm making that. Maybe not.
If you got a 13 and a 29 pick, though, this year, like right now, you're telling me I could go get this thing rolling?
And you have a quarterback already, presumably.
Yeah, I mean, if they're viewing Shador as their guy, but I mean, obviously you got Todd Monken coming in, but Todd Monken ran the same offense with Lamar. He could probably run that same offense here with Shador, honestly. So, yeah, that could get interesting. I mean, shit, maybe they throw in a first round pick in a year or two, go 3 first rounds for him. Who knows?
We were talking earlier. Stafford's got 1 more year on his contract. 2026 is his last season. So I would like to assume he finishes his contract out at least. But who knows? So, but to end this one, I mean, the Rams were, for the bulk of the year, my year to make this. I'll say after week 2, I was pretty convinced that they were going to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Or really,
you were steadfast on the Rams all year. I will give you that.
what solidified it for me was when we didn't know what the Buccaneers were turning into, but when they thrashed the Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football, it was like 30-47 in the first half. I was pretty sold on it there, but nevertheless, here we are. So,
Hey, on
okay,
top of that, it says the Rams have 11 total picks. So I mean, they got a lot of draft capital here.
yeah,
Damn, I was way out in left field. I had no clue the Rams. Hey, Sean McVay might be sitting on a Sam Presti treasure chest, bro.
maybe
Well, they recouped. They got all their draft picks back from all the Stafford and OBJ days, all that. So they're back getting their own draft picks now. I think last year was like their first year being able to pick again, or maybe it's this year actually. I don't remember. But I mean, they got 2 first rounders, a second, a third, a fifth, 2 sixths, and 3 sevenths. So I mean, they got some draft picks out there for this year.
I don't think they're going to draft 13 overall. They're trading that. That's bait for somebody. I just don't.
It depends who's there, man. If you got somebody who could go control your D line, I'd have to take a look and see who all's entered the draft because it feels like nobody has. So I would have to take a step back and look at that before saying for sure. But we'll see. I'm sure we'll have a whole episode about that one day down the road. So
Yeah, and like I said, next week we're going to really dive into looking in depth at the Super Bowl, seeing what's going, and kind of look at both teams, look at their seasons, how they match up against each other, things like that. But we're going to transition from the games into another topic. It kind of made itself at the forefront of the news. But first, I just looked this up before we got started. Want to share it with you guys, and kind of look at it as a group. So let me see. So can you guys see this? So for those listening, I pulled up a list. This was made in 2024, so this isn't recent. I mean, recent as of this past week or anything. It says top 10 NFL coaches of all time. Bill Belichick's placed among the greatest in league history. So I'm assuming this was made after he announced that he's leaving, because that timeline sounds right. But we're gonna look a quick list, live reaction to top 10 coaches of all time. All right, number 10, Curly Lambeau. Fun fact about Curly Lambeau, also did not get in first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's the one who basically turned who turned Green Bay into Titletown. Really is kind of what started their monster real early. I mean, this is pre NFL AFL merger, so this is pre Super Bowl era. I don't know if y'all have a ton to add on this, but I am a bit of a NFL history nerd. So this is a name I expected to see up here.
I actually never heard of, OG Curly until tonight, but I'm gonna always tip my hat to a legend, man.
Hey, Lambeau Stadium, that's where it comes from. Number 9, Joe Gibbs. So Joe Gibbs was the mastermind behind all the Washington domination that they had. I think they won 4. Say what?
They won 4 of them, didn't they?
I think they won 3. But they had.
I thought them boys won 4 in the 70s.
Dude, they were so good. They won between the 80s and 90s because I'm pretty sure they beat the Bills. They beat the Bills in one of their Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Number 9, Joe Gibbs. Number 8, Tom Landry. So Tom Landry is actually, I'm gonna save this for after. Tom Landry is probably, when you think about the silhouette of an iconic coach, Tom Landry is the first one that comes to mind. He's Bear Bryant of the NFL, and the hat probably is something that, kind of sets that up. But, I mean, he turned the Cowboys into America's team. I mean, this is the patriarch for the Cowboys legend that has become the most valuable franchise in NFL history. So, there's nothing else. I'll just keep going down the list. Y'all see anything that jumps out, stop me, and we'll keep going. Number 7, Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh was the mastermind behind the 80s Niners, who won 4 Super Bowls. Of course, had some very talented players to get there on the way, but he's someone that's revered by lots of coaches that came after him, ones that were during his time as well. He wrote probably the most famous coaching book, The Winning Edge. It's like a $300 book if you try and buy it because they hadn't repressed any in a while. But coaches look at that like the Bible. So Move on. Number 6, Chuck Noll. This to me is like my favorite coach that I've done research about. He was the steel curtain in the 90s or in the 70s. Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, and he was the mastermind behind all of it. And he was hired 2 coaches, or he was there's only one coach in between him and Mike Tomlin, which is just one of the most ludicrous things to say out loud. But he definitely, I knew he was going to be top 10 on this list. Obviously thought he was going to be higher. But Paul Brown, which he was real early era when the Browns were kind of the team. He was their general, if you will. So knew I would see him in here. George Halas. So a lot of real old coaches on here, but I mean, these are coaches that people from today still take leadership and game styles from. So
something tells me the first coach on this list gonna be pretty old too.
Well, maybe. But George, I mean, the Bears were, it's weird because like before the Super Bowl and the AFL starts, you have like an era where the Bears, the Browns, and the Packers, all 3 of them were just totally unbeatable. And whether you want to say about the and I'm not insinuating you guys doing this, but whatever you want to say about the competition, these guys own their eras like nobody else did. So I mean that validates that. Number 3, Don Shula, all-time winning coach, only coach to ever pull off a fully undefeated season with the Dolphins in '72. It's another little fun, sicko fun fact. MVP of that game was Jake Scott. Graham, do you know where Jake Scott went to college?
Q's?
No.
Shit, no. Where?
University of Georgia.
Oh, he a dog. Okay.
Yep. All right, number 2. Okay. So this means who's number 1. But Vince Lombardi is the archetype of the football coach. I mean, probably the most important coach in NFL history. He wins 2 of the first 4 Super Bowls. Maybe they won. They won the first 2 because then I'm pretty sure this is a year that the first year is when they win the Ice Bowl where the field's frozen before the game. I'm actually reading a book about that right now. It was -15 when that game started. But I mean, there's so many quotables, like, him drawing on the chalkboard where he's like, we want a seal here and a seal here and run it up the alley. And then the one where he's like, what the hell is going on out here? Dude, I'm deep into the NFL films lore. I'm NFL Network, dude.
Hey, Joey, I also want to redeem myself real quick. I think I misheard you. I know Don Shula coached the Dogs, but you was asking where I thought you asked me where he went to college, so I thought it was
No.
Okay.
The Super Bowl MVP, Jake Scott, where he went to college.
Yeah, Jake Scott. Okay, yeah, I had no idea where Jake Scott went to college.
He went to Georgia.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey,
Number
Joey,
1.
scroll up real quick. Look at like the 3rd line on there. The only football coach to win 5 titles in 7 years. You know how sick of a team we would be? We're so sick of the Chiefs, and they haven't even done that. Could you imagine if we had to watch a team win 5 Super Bowls in 7 years? We would hate that team, dude.
And because they were winning the NFL because the Super Bowl wasn't until the NFL AFL merger where they became one team or one league where they couldn't coexist. So when it was just the NFL championship, yeah, dude, it was insane, especially in the 60s with Bart Starr, Ray Nitschke. There's so many good players on that team. But number 1, greatest coach of all time. What do you know? And I swear I looked this up before I hit record, so I didn't see anything about this list. But nothing surprising here. I saw Colin Cowherd talking about how without the Patriots, he has like a 44% career win percentage. He had one job before the Patriots, and it was in Cleveland. And he got him to he had a very I'm not comparing Stefanski to Bill Belichick, obviously, but very similar plight where you're just in a horrible situation. And I think they had just gotten back to Cleveland had some moving around. If I remember correctly, it was something weird going on there, or they moved out of the stadium. But whatever the case, Belichick, I mean, was there ever a doubt? Guys won 6 Super Bowls. Only coach he hasn't won more games than is Don Shula. And he's been making headlines because the NFL has been announcing here and there some people who will be in the Hall of Fame this year. Belichick came up for eligibility, not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. If I told y'all that, y'all would never believe it. And I wanted to bring up this list because I just wanted to show you guys something. Where is it? I had it in my notes. Okay, so of that list, 3 coaches made the Super Bowl as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Don Shula, all-time wins leader, Super Bowl, undefeated team, of course. Chuck Noll, 4 Super Bowls in 10 years with the Steelers. And Tom Landry with the Cowboys. And I just went over his success. Who didn't? Some coaches, Bill Walsh, Vince Lombardi. Vince Lombardi didn't make it his first year of eligibility. And Jimmy Johnson, another one. And I don't know if necessarily Jimmy Johnson has the claim that someone like Bill Walsh and Vince Lombardi maybe have. But worth noting. And Jimmy Johnson, Logan said it earlier, has been losing his mind about this. He is pissed.
Hey, shout out to him for speaking up on it, too. He's like, I had a private jet ready to go down there. I ain't going anymore. I'm like, hell yeah. Because, I mean, we can all admit how absurd this is. And then I know Tripp shared in the group chat. It's all over the internet. The Bill Polian guy talks about, like, I can't 100% remember if I voted for it. Then why the hell are you voting? You probably couldn't remember who he was at the time of the ballot either whenever you had to vote. Like, bro, get these. If you can't remember who you voted for when this voting just happened not that long ago, like, what are we talking about? It's Bill Belichick. That's a yes. I don't care who you are. If you know football, check. Yes. Hall of Famer, first ballot. I don't care. Like, I think this is absurd. This makes NFL look terrible, dude.
You ever seen your homeboy tell a lie and it's so bad? Like, what he says is so bad you just know it's a lie. It's kind of like that, like, Graham, if I tell you that I know you, and be like, or if I let's say I'm supposed to get you some food, right? I say, and I forget it. I'm like, oh, bro,
You told me you dunked on somebody at Mount Tabor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm 95% sure I did dunk on somebody at Mount
I
Tabor.
mean, besides that one time, I'm not talking about that one time.
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
talking about that one time, yeah.
No, but like, I mean, that is just, he got caught and he didn't want to look bad.
Yeah.
But I also think
100%.
they're not supposed to unveil who they did or did not vote for. Because, that's like something that the NFL had been talking about. They may remove some voters. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but absolute travesty. I think the Spygate, I'll admit, is bad. I mean, they were filming Jets practices, and I love the fact that Mangini is the one, his apprentice is the one that turned him in for it, essentially. The Deflategate was absolute garbage.
Hard to develop quarterbacks when there's drones in the sky, Logan. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Hey, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that,
dude. But
hey, you know what? After Graham said that, maybe Bill Belichick did deserve it. Actually, my fault, Graham. My fault.
But I thought the Deflategate was crap. That was literally Bill. I'm pretty sure it was Bill Polian. I can't remember if it was him or Irsay. I read this in the Patriots book, and I just remember it happening. But basically, someone's like, "Hey, those balls aren't under the PSI requirement," and I don't think that ever officially got proved per se. But I think it's because the evidence was funky. I mean, they end up suspending Tom Brady to start the next season. Like, it was. I thought that was kind of garbage. But Bill Polian also, and I don't know if it's necessarily him, but the Colts when they played, because you guys remember. The Colts and the Patriots during that time were arch rivals. They may have not played. They weren't, obviously didn't play in the same division. But the road typically to the Super Bowl was through those two, whichever way it had to go. And there was one point where the Colts were pumping sound into the stadium to make it louder and make it harder on the Patriots. Like when they were on offense, they would play audio crowd noise. So, Graham, I want you to go first because, if anybody is a Jets hater, a Bill hater, it's you. And not to mention a funny or a glass, what's it called, a sliding door, like what could have happened. What if he doesn't leave the Jets? Because if you guys don't remember, any
knew that
listener
would
maybe
come
want
up.
an NFL history lesson. I'm in my history bag. I don't know why. Bill Parcells was leaving the Jets. And when he left the Jets, he said, hey, Bill Belichick's taking over. This job is Bill Belichick's. Belichick accepts the job, doesn't want to. Days later, he's a Patriot forever. I mean, and
Joey, I got a
anyway.
history trivia question for you. Since you got your Nardwar football hat on tonight, who did Bill Parcells take with his first ever first round draft pick in 1993 as a Jets head coach?
I thought he was a Patriots.
Bill Parcells was a Jets head coach.
So he was a Jets, Patriots, and then went to the Jets again? No, he was with the Giants and then took some time off to be an announcer and then went to then he went to the Patriots.
Well, no, either way, but I'm saying when Bill Parcells was the head coach of the Jets, do you know who he took with his first round draft pick as a Jets head coach?
Chad Pennington.
Aaron Glenn.
I was about to say that, but 93 seems mad early for Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, but I didn't think he.
I thought Aaron Glenn was 93. That's why I was.
That sounds right, but I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know if Parcells.
Bill Parcells was his coach, man.
He was a Jets coach from 97 to 99.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just early on when Glenn got drafted, bro.
I would say 93 seems super early for Aaron Glenn.
Yeah. So, but either way, when Glenn got drafted, I'm pretty sure that was Parcells' first year as Jets head coach. But either way, just funny how everything works, bro. But yeah, my thoughts on the kind of the crosshairs and how Bill Belichick is just so intertwined in the Jets' history and so on and so forth. I actually think Logan mentioned this last week. The Jets were the team that ended Tom Brady's like notorious playoff streak. I think he had like 9 consecutive playoff wins, which was like a record. And when he lost to us in Foxborough, that's what ended that streak. But a lot of the reason why the Patriots beat up on the Jets the way that they did during Belichick's tenure was because of that bad blood that laments from that time that Joey brings up. Obviously, anytime an organization lets a guy, whether it's mutually part ways or straight up, gives a guy that can, anytime that happens, a lot of these professionals that are in the sport of football, they utilize having chips on their shoulder. Anytime you provide them with low-hanging fruit or easy ammunition to kind of add fuel to their fire, they take it and apply it tenfold to all their teams. And that's why Tom Brady and a lot of those other, really famous Patriots from that time, you can look it up. It won't be hard to find. They all have 2 or 3 different moments where they just shit on the Jets about something. And so a lot of it doesn't have to do with the fact that the Jets were uber competitive during those times. Just the fact that, again, there's so much history between the two, organizations, coaching staffs, and things of that nature. And so, yeah, man, I go around the world and back to say it's sinful that Bill Belichick wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. No matter where you stand on the whole topic about Tom Brady being the reason why Bill Belichick was, or Bill being the reason why Tom, vice versa. You got to respect both people. At the end of the day, nobody has been able to do what either of them have done, and you'd have to argue that that's the reason why they stuck by each other's side for so long. At the end of the day, we can all get lost in hypothetical land. Tom knew the grass was usually greener in Foxborough, and he knew Bill was going to be the head coach every single time. So if we're going to, draw up some big conspiracy that Bill isn't a good coach if he doesn't have Tom Brady playing quarterback, it's just like Kanye said, I guess we'll never know, because Tom never put himself in a position to not have Bill as his head coach. I also saw a stat today, and this is not me shitting on Tom Brady, because I also think Tom Brady is the GOAT at football. And I hate Tom Brady as a Jets fan. But I saw a stat today. Out of all the, the plethora of quarterbacks that we know that Tom Brady played with during his tenure, and I'm talking about like during his prime, go down the whole catalog, all the way from Drew, Peyton, all those guys, Aaron. he had a top 10 defense 5 times as much as basically everyone else on the list, bro.
Oh, top 5 defense, dude. They were unreal.
And but I'm saying for the sake of the image that I saw, that was from like an accredited
Gotcha.
source.
Yeah.
I can't go as far as to say top 5 and base it off what they were saying, but top 10 defense for sure. It was overwhelming how much more often Tom Brady had a top 10 defense than all the other guys that he was competing against at that time. The person in closest second was Ben Roethlisberger, and even him with those dog ass defenses that he had in Pittsburgh, it wasn't as much as Tom had in New England, and that's a credit to Bill. I'm never going to sit here and act like Bill was an offensive guru, and I'll never dampen the impact that Tom Brady had on Bill's success and his career. But you could say the same thing for Tom and how he benefited from Bill. They complemented each other. I would argue better than any quarterback coach tandem in the history of Tom. And that's the reason why that organization is as successful as they are, because they struck jackpot on 2 of the most, essential positions in the sport. You had a fucking one-on-one coach and a one-on-one quarterback at the same damn time, bro. I mean, there's no defeat in that. That's an immovable force and an unstoppable object at the same time. So I'm gonna mute myself. I know Logan got plenty to cook up on, and Joey as well, but that's my 2 cents.
Well, before you go, Logan, I did want to just add some context, kind of what you were saying, and you may touch on this too, Logan. But I think a lot of people give Belichick the slight because he did have Tom Brady, and like you talked about, I mean, we could take it back even further. Belichick was the mastermind behind Lawrence Taylor's defenses. Those 2 Giants teams that won Super Bowls in the 80s and 90s, he was the defensive coordinator on that. I mean, he's the one who kind of let Lawrence Taylor let loose. I mean, and they had some super good other linebackers like what's his name, Harry Carson, Carl Banks. They had a lot of really good guys back then. But I mean, the first Super Bowl the Patriots won, I'm pretty sure he had like 140.
He only had like 150 yards, bro.
I think he had 100. I'm pretty sure I looked at it. He went 14-25 at 150 yards, if I remember correctly, or 145 yards, excuse me. So it's not like he just went and lit the world up. I mean, if you wanted to be fair and say it's because of Brady, it's because of Belichick, whatever, I would say the most fair way to break it down, the first 3 are Bill Belichick being a mastermind over everybody else that he coached. It just constantly knew the right signings to make. He was one of the first guys to really hone in on personnel too. I mean, he's the one who's like, hey, let's sign this lawyer Malloy guy. His name's so hard to say. Hey, let's bring this Mike Vrabel guy in from Pittsburgh. Let's bring in so-and-so. Let's draft Richard Seymour. These guys that were fixtures of these Patriot defenses, Ty Law, he was the guy who brought them in. You know what I mean? And then I think once Brady got that first MVP out of the way, kind of that gap between beating the Eagles and losing to the Giants in the Super Bowl, when that gap, after that, especially after that 2007 year, Brady was just another animal of his own. So if you wanted to credit those last 3 to him, totally get that. But I just wanted to kind of touch on that before Logan takes over and probably says things more eloquently.
I mean, I don't really have a ton to say on the subject just because it's so matter of fact. Like, if you're
Hello?
Can you hear me?
You froze up after you said "if you" and then stop.
If your response is going to be because of Tom Brady, my response to you is, who played Tom Brady and benched the highest paid quarterback of all time?
That's a very good point.
Wasn't that Bill Belichick?
And
wasn't
before
Bill
the season,
that Drew Bledsoe? There's a seat over there for you, bud. I got this young, fat Tom Brady that's going to come in and light the world on fire and then light me on fire for doing it and sticking to my guns. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Bill Belichick had the nuts to lay on the table to go say, this is my guy. Tom Brady is the guy. He is the future. And then they go on and win 6 Super Bowls. And then Tom Brady goes on to win another one after Bill Belichick because that's how great he became. So that's my response to that is if your answer is Tom Brady, who played Tom Brady when he was a nobody? Like, Tom Brady was not like the guy coming out of college or anything like that. Like, Tom Brady was built in the Belichick system. And on top of that, if your answer is Tom Brady, who was GM of these Patriots teams? Was it Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? Because I thought it was Bill Belichick, right?
He was like one of the first guys to really take that GM role as a coach.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like, this is absurd, dude. Jimmy Johnson had every right to go on there and be pissed off about it. Like, shout out to Jimmy Johnson for going out there and laying the law down, letting people know how it really is, because this is absurd. Like, this is highway robbery in front of God and everybody, dude. If Bill Belichick's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, then what is? Who is? Like, it's just there's only so much you can say. I literally just think it's written all over the wall. Go look at any wall anywhere in New England, and it's written all over it. You know, like, you don't walk into New England or anything without Bill Belichick, and that's the way it should be, because the man won 6 titles there. So I don't know. I think it's absurd. I think it makes NFL Hall of Fame look like a joke. Like, pretty rough, to be honest. Bill Belichick deserves it. If anyone does, Bill Belichick deserves it. And it's going to be brought up again when Tom Brady's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So get ready, because he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Then everybody's going to be like, well, Belichick wasn't. Then they're going to start comparing their legs.
Yeah, that's going to suck.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's going to be annoying.
Well, I mean, don't it make the most conventional sense to y'all for if we're going to name if we're going to name the most prestigious coaching award, in football, shouldn't we name it the Belichick Award? Like, that make the most sense to me.
Yeah. Coach of the Year, the Bill Belichick Coach of the Year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the fact that we can unanimously agree on that, and this man not a first ballot Hall of Famer, is nuts to me, bro.
And Logan, you brought up a really good point about Drew Bledsoe. I mean, that book that I read went really in depth with this, but basically in training camp, in training camp, they were competing, and Brady or Belichick's telling people, he's like, hey, I can't do this, obviously, but I think we need to play that Brady guy over Bledsoe. And then Bledsoe, I don't know if it's the first week of the season, but it's at least the first game after after 9/11 where Drew Bledsoe gets absolutely scorched on the sideline. I think Bart Scott did it. May not be. I don't think it was Bart Scott. I don't know if he was playing back then in 2001, but
yeah, he was. He definitely
was Bart Scott. I mean, Drew Bledsoe almost died from this hit. I mean, it was absolutely insane what he went through. And then Brady plays throughout the season. They get in the playoffs. Brady gets hurt in the playoffs. Drew Bledsoe plays in the NFC Championship, wins that game. And Bill Belichick says, no, I'm still riding with this Brady guy. Brady comes in. Obviously, they win the Super Bowl, history from there. So, I mean, Belichick, I always say I know his last few drafts were abysmal, but he's probably the best evaluator of talent I've ever seen. I mean, this game has ever seen. He said, hey, let's bring in this guy that nobody wants. What's his name? Rodney Harrison. Yeah, let's just bring him in. I mean, he always knew the right pieces to draft, to bring in, and just figure everything out. So
Bill turned you into a Pro Bowler, and when you left, they called you a system player. I mean, that was the name of the game for about 20 seasons, bro.
And I mean, let's not forget too, like, yeah, you're right, Joey. He did have some rough picks towards the end. But I mean, also, if you look at, like, Mac Jones, what was his first year or two, was looking really solid. Everybody thought Mac Jones was the next guy. But then, I mean, yeah, the talent fell off there for the Patriots for a while. But look at Mac Jones this year. I mean, he plays for the Niners, and he's going off again. So talking about being able to pinpoint talent, like, Mac Jones gets put in San Fran, Brock Purdy's hurt, and he's lighting up the world too again, So it's kind of like, when the Patriots went down, Mac Jones went down, because, it's just kind of how it went. And then you obviously dropped Mac Jones over in San Fran this year, who was obviously banged up throughout the year too, but it's a well-ran organization. And next thing you know, Mac Jones is going off. So even in his later years, he's still identifying talent, whether it be Mac Jones, who didn't pan out for the Patriots, but I mean, he's still picking guys who had great not seasons, but at least one pretty good season for the Patriots. Because at that time, Patriots were like, oh, we found our future, because Mac Jones, obviously, what he did at Alabama, and then his first year and a half over in New England, also, he looked pretty damn good.
What was I going to say? I was just, while I think about it, I'm going to pull up, got a tablet or a page pulled up of people who are eligible for the Hall of Fame this year, who looks like they could be in. First year on the ballot, as far as players are concerned, is Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Frank Gore, and Jason Witten. I think the only two getting in from that, I think Larry Fitzgerald's definitely getting in. Maybe Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees not having the MVP. I know he has like every passing record, but or he did at the time of his retirement. But I don't know if he's going to get in. I think the only person that really might is Larry Fitz. I think Kuechly and Suggs might get in. I have my thoughts about Eli Manning, but I'm not going to get into it today. He'll eventually make the Hall of Fame. I don't know if it's this year. And my question is, how in the world is Torrey Holt still not in the Hall of Fame?
Him and Reggie Wayne stuck out to me big time also.
Yeah, but
hey, is
Torrey
that Kevin Williams? Is that the old D tackle for the Bills? Big white guy? Is that guy? Or is it Kyle Williams I'm thinking of? Something like that.
I don't know,
Either
but
way.
I know Torrey Holt, a 7-time Pro Bowler, two-time All NFL. That's crazy.
Also, how's Adam Vinatieri not a first ballot? He should have been on this shit last year.
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh,
Is it
no.
Vinatieri the points leader for
yeah.
NFL?
Kevin Williams played for the Vikings, by the way. Okay, I remember now.
Hey, is Adam Vinatieri got the most points in NFL history?
I think
yeah, but
How
the
the
thing,
hell he not first round? Our first ballot? What are we doing?
I think if you was a kicker to go first ballot, it would be him for sure. I mean, easily the best clutch kicker in the history of football.
Dude, if you're hands down the best ever at your position, why the hell are you not first ballot? What are we doing then?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that's
the way I look at it. If you're literally hands down the best at your position, which Belichick's the best at his position of head coach, how are you not first ballot? Because I didn't even realize Adam Vinatieri didn't get in last year, honestly.
You know, here's something to think about too. You know who's up for eligibility this year for Hall of Fame as well? Robert Kraft. Because if you guys, I mean, I'm sure you guys are pretty well aware. I mean, him and Belichick have had a falling out. They really don't like each other. There was a lot of contention towards the end of Belichick's tenure in New England. What a slap in the face that would be for him to get in the Hall of Fame before Belichick on the first.
Hey, that would be the politics that Belichick was harping about when he left the NFL. He kept talking about all the politics and all the other BS, and then he went to college instead of chasing the record. Hey, it kind of back up Belichick's point, honestly, if Kraft gets in and not him.
And to be fair, Kraft is probably the best owner in the last 40 years of football.
Yeah, but we're also talking about Belichick not being probably, but being the best coach in all of football.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying?
Him getting Robert Kraft potentially getting in does not make it Belichick any less should have got in. Right. That's not what I was getting at. But here, let's get to the Pro Bowl real quick coming up this weekend. But I think the biggest story.
Not even this weekend. It's during the middle of the week, brother. It's on a Wednesday.
What is it for real?
Yeah, it's the middle of the week this time. It's like Tuesday or Wednesday.
And ain't nobody watching that shit. It don't matter what time they play it.
Yeah, that's just
like Lakers are getting spanked by the cat. Yeah, that's cool.
Hey, fellas, I got to depart a little bit early tonight, but it's always a pleasure running with y'all. Fans, we're going to keep tapping in with y'all throughout the off season. We appreciate everybody for tapping in. I got to sign off a little bit early, but it's always a pleasure to run with my brothers. And y'all don't mind me and Logan's little skirmish earlier, man. It's all love. It's all love involved, bro.
Hey, brothers fight, baby.
Exactly, man.
Any man hearing that, it's just guys having a conversation. It's all it is.
Dudes.
Exactly, yeah. Man. Me and Logan have known each other for damn near 20 years. Y'all mind y'all business.
Literally.
Yeah, maybe there's a rumor mill about Logan and Graham having beef now.
Yeah. Squabble up.
Come on, man. Hey, I'm gonna hop on with my brothers next week. Y'all have a great night.
See you, bro.
Peace,
Peace.
So, Logan, the big story about the Pro Bowl that came this week was one Shedeur Sanders. I can't even get through it without laughing. Making the Pro Bowl after having a quarterback rating below 20, throwing 7 touchdowns and 10 picks.
Bro.
I mean, obviously, we've known the Pro Bowl, especially, and I understand why the Pro Bowl is taken different. The way the injuries have gone up in football, I totally get it. I'm not even really faulting the NFL for that, per se. Does this officially invalidate being a Pro Bowler? Like, I don't think you should be, if you're voted into the Pro Bowl before like the reserves and the injuries and stuff like that, I think it's legitimate. But so much had to go wrong for players for him to make it. And I think this kind of puts the stamp on, okay, this Pro Bowl thing really might not be much. But all I can say is my head coach developed him into a Pro Bowler. That's my narrative, and I'm running with it.
Bro, Gardner Minshew made the Pro Bowl with 15 tuds and 9 picks with Indianapolis in 2023, and a 7-6 record. And I've made the ongoing joke, and I'm pretty sure I made the joke on this podcast one time when Minshew Mania came up that, hey, that's a Pro Bowl quarterback, as a joke. He had 15 tuds, 9 picks, and a winning record of 7-6, and we make a joke because Gardner Minshew made it. This is the ultimate joke. Like, this is a joke going too far. This is sickening. Like, what are we doing? Like, at that, it gets to a point where if they decline you enough, just say, you know what? Y'all don't deserve it. I'm gonna stop calling people. Just have one less guy on the roster. Like, here's where I blame the NFL.
Trevor Lawrence is not a Pro Bowler, by the way.
What's that?
The Prince, Trevor Lawrence, not a Pro Bowler.
I saw that he turned it down, but if he did not, then yeah, that's insane. But I saw that he turned it down. Regardless, though, yes, the injuries and everything, you're not going to see the Sean Taylor hit sticks on a punter or whoever it was. You're not going to see people get killed on the field like that, obviously, anymore. But with that being said, flag football is not fun to watch. Dodgeball is not fun to watch. You know what is fun to watch? You know what, still to this day, when it comes on my timeline, I will sit there and watch a 20-minute video of the little skill challenges they would do. Those were so interesting. Like, whether it be the farthest punt, whether it be the quarterback hitting the freaking moving target downfield or hitting it inside a tire, like, whatever it was, dude, those were fun to watch. Like, maybe you do a 40-yard dash for people like your Tariq Hills and your DK Metcalf who say they should be like Olympic track runners or something. Like, maybe you do a little something like that. And even then, that's questionable because hammies and whatnot. You might pull something, whatever. But at the very least, like, why don't we have these quarterbacks out here? I miss the days where Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning were out here hitting targets, dude. Just slinging the pill, man. Like, that was interesting to watch. I don't give a shit about nothing that goes on in the Pro Bowl. And this, I could not care less about anything that ever happens with the Pro Bowl again. This is, and not to mention, you don't even put it on the weekend. It's not even on the weekend.
Yeah, that one threw me off. I didn't realize that.
A wide open weekend. You just got this on a random. We'll be recording the pod while this shit's going on, forgetting that it's even happening, bro. This is a joke.
So, and one thing I want to say about that is, I think prior to this, while the Pro Bowl itself may have not been, what it once was, that we know that, I think the honor of being a Pro Bowler was still pretty significant. I still think, like, oh, this guy's a Pro Bowler. Had a good year. Now, obviously, I mean, that 1 year Tyler Huntley got in, it was silly. Gardner Minshew getting in. I mean, obviously a lot goes on. A lot of people rejected, et cetera, things like that.
But my thing is, like, why not just name them Pro Bowlers? They're not playing in a fucking game anyways.
Yeah.
And let's give the Pro Bowl status to the people who actually get or deserve recognition to be a Pro Bowler. You're not playing a game anyways. Trevor Lawrence, make it Pro Bowl next to his name and not Shedeur Sanders. Like, what do we – this shit's a joke, bro. This shit's disgusting. That's two disgusting things that's happened in football back-to-back days. Bill Belichick's not in the Hall of Fame first ballot, and then you got Shedeur Sanders as a Pro Bowler. Like, come on, dude.
And let me clarify this too. I am not a Shedeur hater. This has nothing to do with
not
him.
At all. But 7 touchdowns, 10 picks, that says it all.
Yeah, and I'm not. I've never been one to think that he was just going to be a super NFL quarterback, like some may have predicted him to. But I don't think I don't think this year is an indication of how his career is going to play out. I don't think that at all. So I still want the kid to do well by all means. But again, it's a league that protects its integrity so well, like the NFL. This was really surprising to see, because that's kind of always been their thing, is like the Lakers drafting Bronny. Like, that was something I was like, the NFL would never let a team get away with that. And then something like this happens. And I'm not necessarily comparing the situations, but I feel like their lack of, I don't know, it just seems like it's all silly and movie. I don't know how to describe it, but was not impressed with that decision. It was really disheartening. And this is, dude, when I was a kid, like in middle school, the Pro Bowl, obviously not as big as the Super Bowl. The Pro Bowl was a big deal. I mean, I remember getting like ripping Topps football cards. You would get like my brother, he got a Sean Taylor jersey card from when he was in the Pro Bowl. I had like a Terrell Owens Pro Bowl jersey or Pro Bowl card. Like I always thought that was such a big deal. And to the players, I'm not saying players should feel any less if close or not close friend, personal friend, John Grenard, he earned his Pro Bowl nomination last year. He was incredible last season. Ended up being a top 50 player in the league. He earned that. He didn't backdoor his way into it. You know what I mean? Like he was really elected. He should wear that crown forever. We had the privilege of getting him on here. I'm going to refer to him as a Pro Bowler. Like, I have no problem doing that. But these backdoor ways of 3 people not being able to play, rejecting it, being in the Super Bowl, that sucks, man. It really does.
It really sucks too, because like once again, not to make an NBA comparison, but in the NBA, it's often you see a guy who's hurt get selected as an all-star, and then they go down the list. But usually, 99% of the time in the NBA, you will have a guy who is at an all-star level, like it happened with Damian Lillard multiple times, who gets snubbed, and then somebody gets hurt. So Damian Lillard, what's the word I'm looking for? The mistake is corrected by putting Damian Lillard in that spot. So that makes sense. However, this is not a player who deserved it. Like, I've never been really I think Shedeur is a check down merchant, to be honest. I think that's where he succeeded the most in college is short passes. I'm not a believer that he's going to be a top 10 NFL quarterback. I will be honest. With that being said, if he proves it to me, I'll admit I was wrong. I admitted all year on this podcast that I didn't, or beginning of the year on the college podcast, I didn't believe in Gunnar Stockton. I admitted 5 games in, I believe in this man Gunnar Stockton. Then he lit up Ole Miss, and I was a believer ever since. So, I mean, I will never fail to admit when I'm wrong, but I think Shedeur's got the talent to maybe be a starting quarterback. I just don't think he could be a top 10 quarterback. And who knows, maybe he gets put in a situation and thrives, and he ends up being a top 10 quarterback, and I'm wrong. But at this current point in his career, he's not a Pro Bowler. So this being selected is just, I don't know, what does the NFL do? I saw people in the comments arguing like, I bet Shedeur Sanders sold more jerseys than Trevor Lawrence. And they're like, we're talking about a fucking Pro Bowl. We're not talking about jersey sales. So
yeah, I just don't entertain stuff like that.
When you got people in the comments, and it's like the top comments, dude, like they just got the most likes, and it's people arguing about jersey sales. I'm like, what is this, a popularity contest? Like, we just need to be Odell and dance at the 50 and we get in or something? Like, what's going on, dude? Like, I don't know. And with that being said, I'm not saying Odell did not deserve it. Odell was a Pro Bowl level wide receiver at the time. But I'm just saying, like, it's not a popularity contest. You can't just put someone in for whatever narrative it is.
It is a popularity contest, but it should not be. But that's why, I mean, that's what we have.
Sorry, NFL just released saying Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame said in a statement Wednesday that voters who violated bylaws will be removed. So I guess the Belichick situation's having a fallout because people were openly talking about it. Probably Bill, whatever his name was. Because I don't think you're supposed to openly discuss who you vote.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. It sounds like it's going through like your computer, not your mic. I think your mic's picking up your computer mic and not your actual mic.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I said my mic got unplugged, and then I'm an idiot. I put the speaker as the microphone instead of, like, I put my mic as a speaker instead of the microphone. So my bad.
Yeah, that's what I was saying the whole time. I'm like, your mic's going through your computer, it sounds like, and not your mic. It didn't sound as clear, but yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know how that happened. But yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier. Because yeah, like I think I wonder if maybe, I'm assuming like it got leaked that he led the charge So I think I just got that one too. And it should be that. I think that should be, what's it called? That should be sacred. Like you shouldn't tell people that. But let's wrap this thing up with more coaching talk, but in a different light. So I was thinking about this today. What is appealing to? What would you think is appealing to a head coach or a candidate to be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals?
You're an NFL head coach. There's the appeal.
There's nothing
That's it.
appealing about that job.
That's it.
And then, so it's them and the Raiders left, right? Because so we had three big signings this past week in between last episode and this. Mike McCarthy to the Steelers. He completed the NFL Holy Trinity: Cowboys, Packers, and Steelers. I think he's a Pittsburgh native. You saw him. I don't know if you saw him getting emotional during his press conference, but I mean, Steelers football is everything in that city. So I mean, I could definitely get that. Joe Brady takes over. He gets promoted to head coach. Was the offensive coordinator for the Bills the past couple seasons. And Todd Monken gets signed today. So kind of want to run through those. Todd Monken agreed to be the Browns head coach today. So I just kind of want to run through those three real quick. I'm going to give you one kind of point from each one, I think. So we were leaving the card show on Friday. Really fun event, by the way. And I was talking to my buddies. One of my buddies got a really cool Aaron Rodgers card. And we were talking about him. And we're like, yeah, he's probably done. And I'm thinking in my head, the only way he's not done is, I said this out loud. I'm like, I think the only way he could stay is if, he's still got good ties with Mike McCarthy and he comes to Pittsburgh. Just didn't think that was going to happen. And what do you know? They ended up hiring him. I don't know. My thing is, I don't know. What does this say about the direction of you as a Steelers or as the Steelers, right? Like, I mean, Mark McCarthy's Super Bowl winning coach. Dude knows how to coach football. I'm not doubting that at all. Obviously, his Cowboys tenure wasn't as successful, but kind of really helped Dak get to that next level that we've been seeing him at now. But my question is like, where do we go? Like, if your plan is to bring back Aaron Rodgers, what is your plan for the future? Like that, I think that's putting Aaron Rodgers, respectfully, who we've both agreed is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. Adding Aaron, I feel like that's slapping a Band-Aid. Like, okay, we at least got this taken care of for 16 more games, which I don't even know if you do at that point. But what does it say about your future?
I don't know, because if you really feel like the Steelers can make a push to win the Super Bowl, then yes, it makes sense. I don't really feel that way.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Like, I don't think they're close to a Super Bowl. So, I mean, Mike McCarthy's a good coach. I just think it's time for the Steelers to rebuild. And Mike McCarthy coming back makes me fully believe that Aaron Rodgers is coming back, honestly. Like, I'd be super surprised if Aaron Rodgers retires and doesn't come back to play another season with Mike McCarthy. Like, I feel like that's the move here. So, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make the most sense to me either, but at the end of the day, Mike McCarthy is clearly super passionate about this job. Pittsburgh native. I see a lot of Pittsburgh fans not a fan of the signing. Then Pittsburgh fans are seeing how he is immediately getting choked up in the interview, in whatever they call it, the introduction or whatever. He's immediately getting choked up and everything. So, like, that's super cool to see. It's cool to see how passionate he is about it. It kind of seems like if it doesn't work out here, McCarthy may never coach again, to be honest. It seems like this is going to be where he wants to hang his hat. And, I mean, what better way to do it than try to go get another Super Bowl for the Steelers? I don't know if I see that happening, but never say never, I guess. But I don't know. It doesn't make the most sense. It doesn't make their future clear or anything like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's just kind of my thing. Is I don't know what this does for your future, but I mean, this again, a guy knows how to coach football.
Yeah.
I think these coaches who've been fired, they come back with a chip on their shoulder. Don't know if it's always a good thing, but I mean, you at least kind of have that internal motivation. Another job, Buffalo Bills. So obviously they go to McDermott. I feel like I told y'all this too. Like it came to me. I'm like, they're hiring Joe Brady. Like it's gonna happen. I thought it was gonna be a familiar voice or like a somebody who's familiar with kind of at least Allen. And I know Josh Allen had say so, which I'm not sure how I feel about coaches having say so or quarterbacks having say so. Players in general having say so in coaches. I don't know. I'm just always been weird about that. But neither here nor there. They end up signing Joe Brady, who's the mastermind behind the 2019 LSU offense. Had some years in Carolina too before going to Buffalo. My thing is, from what I understand about McDermott, things kind of hit a wall with him. You know, like kind of just it ran its course. Are you putting a new voice in the room? You know what I mean? Like, are you? I saw somebody say, "What if he brings back no or somebody?" I feel like it was somebody credible said something like he should bring McDermott back as defensive coordinator. Like, yeah, buddy, that's happening.
After they just shitted on him.
Yeah, like, are you serious?
I mean,
that's my biggest thing. Is like, yeah, you got. I know fans, including myself, love these offensive guys coming in, taking over as head coach. A lot of the play calling responsibilities. I just don't know what you accomplish with that, other than you bring in a guy who's a really smart offensive mind, but he's also been part of leading defensive or coordinators, especially. They lead locker rooms too. It's not like it's just a head coach doing everything. I just don't know like what new message you put in a locker room. I don't know.
The only way this signing makes sense to me, or not the signing makes sense. The only way this whole situation makes sense, the Bills had to feel like they were going to lose Joe Brady if they didn't promote him. That has to be what it is. Like, because let's be honest, like we were immediately talking about Joe Brady being a head coach when all these firings started happening before McDermott got fired. So maybe the Bills were in a situation where they're like, if we don't promote Joe Brady, he's gone, and they value Joe Brady more than McDermott is the only thing I can think to make all of this make sense. And if that's the case, then like I guess I understand that. Like if you feel like you have your guy of the future in the building, it's kind of like when Georgia felt like South Carolina was about to go get Kirby Smart, they're like, nah, we're gonna make something happen. Maybe they felt something like that. They felt like somebody was gonna swipe Joe Brady and they couldn't afford to see him go somewhere else, so they swoop in and promote him and get rid of Sean. So that's the only way it really makes sense to me, though, because like you said, you're not changing the voice in the locker room. You're not really changing anything like that, like the offense. I mean, to me, it just has to be they were scared they were going to lose Joe Brady, so instead they make a move so that they can promote Joe Brady.
And I thought, to be fair, I mean, I think he was a candidate to get a job. I mean, I'm going to say this a second ago, I thought Chris Shula, the DC from the Steelers, he was the favorite to take this DC from the Rams. He was a favorite to take that Steelers job. So I really thought he was going to. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you think you got your guy, it's just, man, I don't know. I don't know. It's just like I was kind of out on the Ben Johnson hire for the Bears last year for different reasons that I had. But I at least understand the success because it's a totally new aspect into that locker room, and you just don't get that with Joe Brady. So I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. I mean, obviously, a good hire. Okay, is a good hire to you made on the spot of the hire, or is it always in hindsight?
I mean, I would say it's like for the Giants, it's fair to say Harbaugh is a good hire for them. I mean, you got the top candidate, and you haven't been an NFL playoff team in how long? So, like, in a situation like that, I would say, yeah, that's a good hire. Obviously, it could fall flat on its face. But at the time, if you go out and get a top coach that's available, like the Giants did this year, and you're a team who hasn't been in the playoffs in quite some time, in situations like that, I'd say it's fair to say it's a good hire in the moment. With this Bill situation, I don't think it's safe to put a label on it until we are 5 years down the road, though.
Okay, so you think unless it's like the slam dunk first or second candidate, we have to wait to kind of see how it plays out?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's situation to situation for sure. But when you fire McDermott after the success he's brought to Buffalo and the top two candidates are already off the field, you better hope you got your guy. And that's why I believe they thought Joe Brady was going to get a job somewhere else. So they wanted to get their guy that they already had in the building, keep him there, and promote him. So that's the only way it makes sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way it makes sense in my head, at least.
Well, one of the other jobs that got filled today was former Georgia offensive coordinator. I love you. Todd Monken, former, obviously was with the Ravens after he left Georgia and, helped Lamar capture Super Bowl or capture an MVP. Should have had another MVP with him last season at least. But I thought, because it was expected that he was going to go to New York with Harbaugh. I mean, Harbaugh was riding hard for this guy. And that's kind of what led him to leaving Baltimore, was him kind of being so diehard on his coordinators. I don't know why I keep saying but ends up signing today. I wonder, was Todd Monken maybe the best writer of everybody who applied for the job? I don't know if you've been seeing like all the qualifications. Like they had to take a personality test. They had to write an essay. They had candidates writing essays, stuff like that. So he ends up going there. There was a lot of speculation with the former Lions head coach and the most recent Browns defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz. He was favored to take over the job, and apparently him not getting it has really strained their relationship. So he's not. Seems like there's no way he's going to be staying on as DC. Would have loved to have had him as a DC in Atlanta, honestly, but following Stefanski. But yeah, Monken. I mean, this is a guy who lit up the world at Georgia. Came in. I think they upped when the year between him and Greg Roman being in Baltimore as OC. I think their points per game went up like 10 points or their points per game went up 10 points. Like you're jumping from like 15 to 25 or something like that. So, I mean, this is a guy, he knows how to call offense. And I know he's had chances to be head coach. I think at one point, Duke wanted him to come be head coach when he was still at Georgia. So, I mean, this is the guy who, has had been around winning for a long time, at least the past 6 years. So, I mean, this is a guy who knows how to establish something. I don't know how I feel about him. Again, as a head coach, I mean, I think I'm always, and maybe I should be less skeptical, but the offensive-minded guru, that's always, to me, that's going to be the guy, like how we're talking hindsight, that's how I'm going to feel about it. But obviously, this dude knows how to call plays. I'm going to be interested to see kind of how he develops with those quarterbacks, because he self-admittedly said him and Lamar's relationship was not as close as it could have been. He takes some accountability for that, but I don't know how it's going to go, so.
Yeah, anytime you got someone like the Browns, the Raiders, the Titans kind of fall in that same boat who got Saleh. I mean, when you got teams who are just in the dumpster fire like this, you just got to wait and see. Like, in the moment, there's no real like, oh, yeah, like this is the guy, or this is, you don't really know. Like, I mean, at least I guess Saleh at least is a bigger name hire, but he wasn't a great head coach necessarily. Great DC, but never really a great head coach. I mean, like, it seemed like the Jets were on the brink for a couple seasons there. It seemed like they were a quarterback away. Obviously, they go get Aaron Rodgers, and then the Achilles happens, which is terrible, because I felt like that was about to take off. Like, it seemed like Aaron Rodgers was the missing piece, and then he tears his Achilles. So, like, Saleh seemed like he was on the brink of getting something done over there in New York with the Jets. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the Titans. And, like, same thing with kind of Todd Monken and the Browns. It's like when you got a team where they're just so bad, whoever takes over the Raiders, it's going to be the same way for me. It's like you can't say it's a slam dunk hire unless you go get the top candidate or something like that, like we talked about like the Giants. And even the Giants last year, like their record wasn't great, but the energy going into the Giants season last year and kind of throughout the season was a little different. Like it seemed like they were on the rise, like they had young guys like Scatterbo, Jackson Dart, Neighbors.
After that Eagles win.
Yeah, like it just seemed like, it seemed like they were on the trajectory up before the coaching firing and all that. So I don't know. Any team who's kind of at the bottom of the barrel, it's just kind of like a wait and see for me. I can't say it's a slam dunk, but I know me and you talked about this previously. Harbaugh to the Giants, and I was talking about he had got approved for like the second interview for the Browns. So it seemed like he was either going to take that head coaching job if offered, or he was going to go be the OC with the Giants and follow Harbaugh. I know we talked about that on the last pod. So
yeah.
We got our answer here. He's got offered the job to the Browns, and he took it. So can never fault a man for wanting to take a head coaching job, no matter where it is, honestly. And if it's between some of these teams, what'd you say is left? The Raiders and who?
The Raiders and the Cardinals, the only two jobs that are left.
So Raiders, Cardinals, Browns. Which of those three teams would you want to take over as a head coach for the first time? Because I would say Browns. That defense is pretty stout.
Probably. And not
Yeah.
to mention, like, this could sound like a cheap skate answer, and I don't really care. If you're a Raiders coach, you had the lore of being a coach for the Raiders. Like when we talked about the trinity of the NFL franchises being the Packers, Steelers, and Cowboys, Raiders are right knocking on that door. They're 4 or 5 on that list.
I think them being in Vegas now puts them a couple ticks down, though. It's not the same Raiders, you know.
Well, they've moved like 100 times. I mean, this wasn't their first move, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Vegas
but still,
is more glamorous than Oakland and LA, you know. To me, maybe I'm just different.
I don't know. It's just nothing. Arizona seems like the least appealing job in the NFL to me. Just if you vacated every job in the NFL, that would probably be the toughest one to fill.
Yeah, I can't argue that. There's really nothing going there.
Nothing
the best
cool.
thing you can tell me is Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, and you're barely selling me on one of those. You're definitely not selling me on Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I would say Trey McBride I'm sold on. I think he's top 5 tight end. But Marvin Harrison hasn't been great. And, yeah, Kyler Murray, don't believe Jacoby Brissett played better than him this year, let's be honest. So, don't know if I'm really – yeah, I mean, if a tight end is selling you, I guess go ahead and take the job over in Arizona.
But so we'll hopefully by next week we'll have some update on that before we hit the Super Bowl stuff. So next week we're gonna have next week we're diving into, first off, longer episode today. Only have one this week, so appreciate everybody tuning in as always. We'll be back next week with 2. Got a Super Bowl deep dive, and then maybe looking at some. I really want to. I was telling you I had some ideas about maybe looking at an old Super Bowl, kind of running back through that game. So we'll see. But is there anything else you want to add, Logan, before we head out of here?
Nothing much. I got the deep dive episode of the Super Bowl with predictions and all that good fun stuff next week. So make sure y'all tune in for that. As y'all saw, we did not touch on predictions. So we're going to get our 10 caps on and start predicting next week.
Hey, we got reasons. There's methods to the madness.
Hey, I mean, we got a 2-week span. You know, we got to space it out for you guys. We got to make sure we bring you fresh content next week too, right before the big game. Because you can't say Super Bowl. You got to say the big game. Don't want to get sued, you know.
Oh, fair enough.
You know, they be suing folks for that now.
Yeah. So, well, all right. We'll go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
See ya.